but it is what we're after. Yeah, so, I don't know which part of the world some of you are in, but it's getting hotter here in Cyprus. So we're like fighting for the AC remote and trying to work things out and just wanting to go to the beach. Usually in the summer months, it's like trying to figure out, what am I going to do? Business, this, that. It usually slows down a little bit. So you do more of the building side. That's why I sort of got inspired for this workshop to show you guys the summer building zone. So hopefully it will resonate. Let's give people a few more minutes and see what that's about. Hi, Yinka. Good to see you. JP, David, Rami, Tina, Minam. Oh, you guys. George. George is going to be our co-host today for some part of the gig. It's been awesome trying to give us his beautiful data for us to use today. I'm just going to get it as we're waiting here. One sec. Was anybody here part of the AI studio? Can you get like a thumbs up if you were? Awesome. Nice. This is going to be a little less, hopefully, for you guys to see. So, boarding, George, there we go. I'll just speak to a little bit of it as an intro before we get in. I had some doodles here, but I'm just going to wing it. Basically, we're all somewhat coaches and consultants or service providers in the room, right? Like whether we're helping other people go through a transformation or we're providing a service, and word on the street is the word AI, right? And everybody's like using this buzzword. I've actually written a series of emails about it for tomorrow, because if you are old enough, you would have gone through a .com bubble. You would have gone through a SaaS bubble. And now we're going through an AI bubble. And what happened in those bubbles was buzzwords, right? The internet, or whatever these bubbles were. And people latched on, and there was a golden rule in 2017. When your taxi driver starts talking about Bitcoin, you know that it's time to sell, right? It's not time to buy the peak. The same was true for SaaS. Everyone, their uncle, brother, mother, father had a SaaS. Or in the internet, we had all sorts of startups pop off. And billions were invested and so on and so forth. And I'm seeing the same thing. Like you get Anthropic and OpenAI have like billions of dollars worth in valuation. And if you are on LinkedIn like myself or Instagram or wherever, any scroll, I guarantee you'll see the word AI, right? Now, what's happening, at least in my view, is we went through a honeymoon period. Like anyone in the room been part of LinkedIn's honeymoon, 2023, 24? You would whip up a carousel with 3 slides and it would just fly like Bitcoin did in 2017. Same thing. You use the word Claude today and your post just, skyrockets, and it is what it is. But I think the honeymoon stage is over, especially with claims and where we are in the marketing sort of consulting world. When I started LinkedIn, you used to just put up a result and say, DM me info, get 40 leads in your inbox. If I do that today, people will laugh at me and probably block me and ignore me, because they're like, hey, I've been burned before. I've been scammed. I've seen these results and these screenshots. Most of us who've a little bit of, more awareness, we've seen people post the same screenshot 50 times. And you're like, oh, there he goes again, right? So we are just maturing in a market cycle at the stage of that maturity, where we have become more educated, more sophisticated. So this feels like a little bit of the hangover. Now, what happens when you go to a and you have another hangover? You either don't drink as much, or you remember to drink water before you go to bed, so you don't wake up pounding, right? Or you sort of learn a little bit of the pattern here. But with the hangover in our market, people become more sophisticated. They do their own research. The beliefs don't work as much. And what happens when you do have belief, and you can analyze, or you there lack belief and trust? We got to take our audience deeper. So the premise of today is sort of like my response to that, because I felt putting us in a workshop and actually demonstrating is part of what I want to sort of indirectly pass on to you guys today. Because when you start demonstrating, it's like a test drive for a car. You take, the car salesman barely has to do any sales if he just gives you the key. He goes, hey, you could take this for a spin. Here's some temporary number plates, and then you come back and you either buy the car or you don't. So I think we're going to be in a little time pot now, especially since it's summer. LinkedIn or any other platforms reach is on the low. I don't know if you guys are experiencing that a little bit, especially this week. So my theory is take your prospects, customers, clients deeper down the rabbit hole, building an ecosystem. And obviously with AI, the reason I said what I said when I led the beginning of this call is we forever have a plan. The fundamentals don't change. If I'm sick and I go to the doctor, he'll give me a plan to get better. If I want to get clients, somebody like myself or yourselves gives other people a plan on how to get from point A to B. We haven't reinvented the wheel. So humans need a plan. We need an implementation layer, if we think of it like a triangle, and then we have support. The two things that are unaffected are the plan and the support layer. We human beings. I brought the .com and all of that before because the implementation layer changes. So during the .coms, we had a company called Microsoft come up with something called Outlook. And it blew everybody's minds, right? So all of a sudden you had PowerPoint, you had Microsoft Word. And then a few years later, Google invented Google Docs. And it was the hottest buzzword on the market, right? And now everybody uses Google Docs and Outlook and stuff off the back of their hand, and we don't speak of them, right? They've just become part of the implementation layer. So the reason I tell you this is because I consciously choose to not put the word AI in my marketing as a front-facing layer. If you are a coach, consultant, somebody who uses tools, like we are using Google Meets right now to be here, I don't faff around and shout through the rooftops showing off that I use Google Meets. You may be a Zoom nerd, get me on Zoom. I don't even know how to hit record. I'm completely useless at that. But all of that to say, we just use the tools, but we get back to the fundamentals. Can I give someone a plan and can I offer support? The only thing that's changed is the speed to implementation. So unless you are an AI consultant somewhat, right, then you, by all means, scream and shout about it. But for most of us that are integrating AI in that implementation layer, and again, this is my opinion, there's no right or wrong, it's just what I choose to do. I would rather be a better consultant and a better coach or a better mentor by integrating that implementation layer with what I'm going to show you today. Why? Because some of you have gone through this with me. If you came into Modern Maker in 2023 or 2024, we had to get on a kickoff call. I had to take notes by hand, which I still do, very slowly, about who you are, who you serve, all of that. We'd fill up a bunch of docs. I would review them and take like 3 or 4 days. I would send them back. We'd get on another call. We'd get an offer. We'd have 3 or 4 iterations. Nowadays, you just interact with Iggy, right? Most of you have heard Iggy in my GPTs and he's given you a good time. And in 4 minutes, you have an offer and you're like, fuck this. I don't care what a promise is and what a plan is. Like, just give me the doc and let me move on, right, with my life. Stop teaching me all this theory. So when I had that realization, I act the same way. Like when I hurt my toe or my foot running, I don't care about the cellular membranes that my foot goes through to create pain. I'm just like, fix it. Tell me what to do. And I want to get out as fast as possible. So most of us in the room, I would like to hope, care less about the information and just want to get a desired result. But we also want to have the opportunity to learn something if we want to. So all of these tools, the same way we use Google Meets, and I have no idea how it's coded and how 30 of us today are just showing up on camera. I don't care, and neither do you. Is the same premise of the MCP. So an MCP, let me just Google that again because I forget what that stands for. Model Context Protocol. In my dev days, it was an API. You would just interact with an API. The simplest way for me to explain that is if you've ever looked at your iPhone and asked it for the weather, it goes to some place, some satellite, and it fetches the degrees in Celsius or Fahrenheit and displays them on your screen. But somebody has an API in the world where it sort of displays the weather, and Apple pulls that from that API. The same is true if you watch football. I'm in Cyprus. I love the NBA. Every time I check the score for the Golden State Warriors and I want to pull my hair out, there is an API somewhere on a betting platform or wherever, and it displays the score. So what I've done from my server here in Cyprus is, as you may know, you've got custom GPTs and Claude skills, right? We know what those terms are. Anyone not know what they are? Judy? Judy, do you know what a prompt is? Or were you saying thumbs up because you do know what it is?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. Okay. We do know. Okay, so I won't get into that. All I did was I put my Claude skills in a server. I created an API, and now, Brandon, you're in the center of my screen. I go, hey, here's a cool token. You can click this, and then all of a sudden you have access to my Claude skills in my brain. You don't care about how I wrote the prompt, what it is, whatever. You just want your offer printed. You want your funnel made. You want all of that. So the premise of today is George here gave us his onboarding form. He's a modern maker. We've been working closely over some time. I'm not going to read all of this, but thank you, George, for taking the time to give us this amount of information. And what we did with George here is basically I gave him access to this Modern Maker MCP. At the core of it, every stage that you amazing humans got in trouble with as we worked together, I've turned into a skill. And then you will, if you don't have access to this yet, you will by the end of the week, because I'm slowly testing it in batches. But essentially, once you plug that in, then you get this awesome little prompt. And let me know if I'm blinding you or you can actually read this off the screen. Yeah. So I've already installed it, and we've basically said, show me my 17 Modern Maker skills, and it gives you your onboarding form. I've also prepared this document, which is going to be the new Modern Maker plan. Those of you who were here in earlier years, this used to take between 3 to 12 months to execute. What I'm going to show you today is that it takes less than an hour, which is insane. The setup of it, the funnels, the emails, all of that stuff. So everyone's going to get this document inside Modern Maker, and we get to follow it. Where we get stuck and where the human side comes is, how do I keep writing LinkedIn posts? How do I know my funnel's converting? Do I need human discernment? I need taste. I need understanding of that. My daily emails, when I write them and when I launch campaigns, that's where the recurring element is. So in one of the doodles I had, we have an installation phase, which is what George and I are going to do now. And then after that, we have this recurring phase where we show up. So the essence of the AI Studio and this sort of work that I'm doing with the MCP is to allow us to basically come to a place where we can show up and express ourselves. Like, I'm a copywriter by nature. I love writing. If my funnel and my offer is in check and my landing pages convert and I don't ever have to think about them again, I can just show up as a human being, serve you guys, and right from the heart. And I want to sort of give you a little bit of that. So George basically filled in his onboarding form. Inside of this, there is the Iggy that you guys used as a custom GPT or Claude skill. There's a bunch of other skills like Frodo, who designs your offer architecture. This is the number one pushback I got. I always got middle fingered here. Jacob, stop explaining funnels. I don't care. Just tell me what my low ticket product is. Do it for me and let me go. The other one was Thrivecart, the builder. So people hate coding and HTML and all this stuff. So Thrivey builds your page for you. George creates your game plan. Matty writes your pre and post purchase emails to get leads to turn to customers to clients. Then the Goblin plans your weekly LinkedIn posts from your calendar, optimizes your hooks. Auntie strips away AI, so where you sound like AI, it tells you off and bullies you back to the drawing board. Launchy tells you what launch campaign emails you do, and George, you are here because you're about to have a launch, so lucky for you. Fingers crossed this works. Adam turns your notes into 2,000-word LinkedIn or Substack articles. Carla writes your daily emails. I don't use any of these except the Goblin because I'm a writing nerd, but some people hate writing. They just want to coach. And then our best friends, Jacob, virtual Jacob, has been given 2,783 calls over the last 3 years and knows everything about pricing, capacity, productizing, offer strategy, all of that. Hetty is my inner copywriter who looks at your landing pages. Most of you have either messaged me or put a post on school about reviewing your offer, your post, all of that. And Gandalf is your mindset buddy. When you want to burn shit down, he will listen. The game plan launchpad, if you run ads or you have organic reach, will break down exactly what you need every month. So for George, we want to have a successful launch. It will tell you how much ad budget you need, how many impressions you need, how many leads you need, all of that stuff. Anyone an overthinker in the room? I tend to overthink stuff and I spar with myself. And then I end up like, is this it? Is that it? What about this? What if I do that? So I created the LLM Council. The LLM Council will fight on your behalf and make a decision for you if you are like me, who can never decide stuff. And then if you want to build a virtual version of yourself, you use Verto. So on that note, I have this hidden prompt called Run the Build Prompt, which all of us are going to watch now. And then I'll probably tell jokes as this guy does all the work as we're going. But on that note, I'm going to open a brand new chat and I'm going to say, what did I say over here? I forgot. So show me my 17 want to make thingies. So there we go. So far, so good. So crafty names. Yeah, I try to personalize them. Otherwise, you're like, hey, Mr. Content Writer. And it becomes a bit boring. I'm going to grab George's onboarding details. So, okay. Sweet. So if we're following the plan onboarding form, we get access to the MCP. Now we're going to do the master prompt. So I'm going to allow the API to access, and then it's going to just start spitting out everything. So if for whatever reason you didn't fill in your onboarding form, you have it here. Once you fill it in, Virtual Jacob sends you a copy. You can bookmark this document, which is this one I have right here of the plan. Right there. And then the only module that you watch, which is insane to me, is how to set up Thrivecart. So I'll talk through that when we get there, but it's a 7-minute video of how George will just grab my template, pull what Thrivey is going to do and make it come to life. For now, I'm just going to do it live. So George, are you happy for me to start this? Awesome. The only thing I ask of you as we're talking through this, if it goes nuts and you disagree with something, stop it so we can correct it. Awesome. So there we go, there we go. Now I'm going to say run the build prompt. Let's see what that's going to do. Is the writing on the screen big enough for you to see, or should I make it a little bit bigger?
It's legible, but I wouldn't mind seeing it bigger.
So I forgot to paste the onboarding form on purpose. And it says paste your onboarding form. So there it is. This is one thing I'm going to do here, just for you guys to know, is in the connectors, you saw my Google Drive, my Gmail, and Fathom. George and I spoke earlier today in a one-to-one call. So with your permission, George, I'm going to ask Fathom to use some of our calls for extra juice, because we want to speak like George and not like Jacob. So this is his George's onboarding form. We also spoke earlier today. You have Fathom notes for tone of voice and extra references. And I have no idea what it's about to do with that. So, okay, I'll pull the Fathom notes from your earlier conversation, and then I'm going to build what you say. Now, what I've done to it, because I lost a little bit of sleep while we're at it, is Auntie, the anti-AI bot, wouldn't work for some reason. So I was like, please use your Auntie every time you build something so it sounds less like AI. So I'm curious on how that's going to perform. I found your March session with George. George, do you want to tell us what you do while we're waiting? I think you're on mute. Oh, is it me who has the power? It says I can't unmute it, so strange. That's weird. Okay, I'm gonna rejoin. So while George is here, is coming back, the brief has 11 steps. So
you should hear me now, right?
yes.
Okay, awesome. So I'm helping medical device companies improve one part of their quality management system. It's called non-conformity and corrective action, preventive action management. It's super unsexy. You don't have to remember anything of that. Basically, it's about preventing companies to get regulatory findings, which costs a lot of money to remediate them, and on the other side to protect us customers, right? All of us could be patients one day, and I want these companies to manufacture safe devices.
That's pretty niche, right? So partially the reason why George is special today is most of us, give or take, are into marketing. George is in one of the coolest niches I've ever heard. So working with him has been a pleasure, because I got to learn a lot about an industry that I'm not familiar with. And I want to test virtual Jacob's skills here as well to see if he'll pick up. But according to George, we don't need to know much about it. We just know he's a great consultant who will need help. So hopefully with your approval, we got the niche correct. We got our primary audience correct. We have some guesses of offers and pricing. It picked up your existing funnel, your VSL, if it's applicable. It knows that you hate persuading, which is cool. Game plan tool, strong yes, that was what we were discussing earlier. Now, for all of us in the room, some of us have made less than 3K, more than 3K. We've done it monthly, daily, weekly, depending on where we are. Virtual Jacob has information from all of us that I've spoken to, and we'll give you a different plan depending on how much money you make. That 3K can change, and it can be whatever number you want it to be. Tier 1, offer is validated. The engine isn't consistent. So priority is a funnel that produces buyers without you in the DMs or sales calls, which is the whole point of what we're building. Would you say that is somewhat a good guess? Oh, sorry, I didn't see. So the form list, 12-month revenue goal, 20K, but profit goal of 100. That's almost certainly swapped or a typo. What is the real 12-month revenue target?
Yeah, I took the 20 as a stretch goal, right? Or let's say
Okay,
the
we're gonna
aspirational goal. Yeah.
anything in the offer cascade above what you want to change, pricing or to bump, whether GPT diagnostic. So when we look at this, we're going to just pick this for the sake of the example. I think perfect. We want the game plan funnel. With George, we sort of spoke earlier, and we said you want to have a community in the back end. So eventually we want an upsell to lead to a low cost 99 a month style community offer. So everyone doing okay? Nice. I can see some of you, not all of you, because I'm sharing the screen. So that's cool.
Jacob, can you tell us while we are waiting, what goes in the onboarding doc? Like, what kind of information did George give you that's helping this prompt?
Sure. So great question. This is the type of info. So what's your name, your email, your phone number, your date of birth, your current offer, you know, who you help, how long it is, basic sort of information, what your monthly revenue has been over the last 3 months, your profit goal, your biggest obstacle, any audiences, like what your social media following is, what you sell, and what someone's life looks like after working with you, your ideal client, what is your buyer feeling the day before they find you, what's the single most common objection, the best result a client has gotten from working with you, any existing sales pages, offer docs, bits of information. What happens when someone expresses interest in your offer? Do they send you a DM? Do you get them on a call? Like that. What's the story behind why you do this? What have you already tried that didn't work? 3 or 4 sentences about what you do and why it matters. What content have you created that got the best response? What do you want your business to feel like? If someone's on the fence, what do you say? What are you most afraid of? What made you join Modern Maker? That's more for me. And if a genie could send you a book, that's also for me. Awesome. So if you haven't seen the onboarding form yet, I'm sort of giving it to you in batches within Modern Maker, so you'll be getting it by the end of the week.
Yeah, my question is, how do those questions, the answers to those questions, map on to the funnel, or like, you know, all the GPTs, for example? It's pretty cognitively heavy. You know, when you're asking somebody who's joining to be so self-reflective and answer these questions. So what I'm curious about is, like, you know, if coffee is the main output product, what is the sugar here? What is the coffee grain here? Like, what are some of those questions that you need George to answer for it to create this funnel better? And the reason I'm asking that to you is because I learned this lesson where I ask these questions and people are so impaired with trying to answer and like going on that memory jog. So I myself am trying to understand like what are the questions that I need to ask them for them to be able to kick off this MCP at least for the first iteration to work.
Yeah. So I'm going to pin the answer to this question for a moment
Yeah,
until we see the output.
yeah,
But the general gist of it is if somebody like George can spend 20 minutes of their life to fill this in as thoroughly as possible,
mhm,
I will save you 12 months. So that's
Got
the
it.
trade, right?
got it.
Or that is the intention.
Got
I'll
it.
answer it in full after. So
That sounds
locked in. I actually forgot to hit allow, so I can talk through that. But generally speaking, the way I've coded the MCP behind the scenes has to have a true human reflection of who we are as human beings, how we feel, what emotions we have, because it's rooted in buyer psychology, it's rooted in the way we behave when we buy, but it also is rooted in logic and code. So sometimes when I ask questions like revenue, for example, it will know which part of the funnel it needs. So if I've never had a single client before, it's not going to build you your funnel. It's going to actually say, here's how to grow your audience first. You know, it's going to mold itself in the journey versus somebody who may be in the room here that makes 300K a month. The funnel you have is not going to be a minimum viable funnel. It's going to have upsells, cross sells, down sells to help you liquidate your ad spend, for example. That's sort of the bread and butter. Now, what's happening is Iggy writes the document, then usually you come to Jacob, right? Like, hey, Jacob, review my offer. Teddy is the copywriter who's going to review it. So we do a little bit of loading per se here. I always get nosy and I want to know what it's doing. So I click in to make sure it's okay. But overall, that is the case. Brendan, good shout. I love Whisperflow. I coded the entire MCP with Whisperflow, running around the house and just using dispatch. But I also do all of this stuff with Whisperflow all day. You can even have like a formatting thing. So I love just talking freely and then running it through one of the skills to be like, format this for my email. And then it pops up the stuff, which is awesome. So what happened is your high ticket offer doc, you can read through the edits if you want to, but for the sake of this demonstration, it gives you naming options. It writes the entire offer for you. It gives you the roadmap and the stages. George, we were speaking about turning these into YouTube videos today. For context, your investment, how to join. We know you're running a wait list because that's what you said on the call before. For now, I'm going to say don't adjust anything, and I'm going to say next so we can have the output. But usually here you can go with it and say, I don't like this, I don't like that, change this, change that. So now Frodo is the person that maps your strategy. It extracts a part of your offer document and it suggests what your low ticket funnel should be, what your order bump should be, and what your upsell should be in a format that gets people to buy the entire cart. So the low ticket offers tells you what you need to do. The order bump shows you how you need to do it. And the upsell shares either speed to implementation or support. I'm curious if Frodo is going to get it right. The one thing this entire thing doesn't do is ads. We had somebody join us today, I think. Judy, you are in the room. Judy Thomas, welcome, who is an ads ninja. So I will be talking to you to educate in the future to add to the skill set.
Sure.
That's sort of the missing piece of the whole thing. So stage 3 of the funnel, here's the full architecture. Let's see. Game plan tool does the diagnostic. They answer a handful of questions about the Kappa setup. It solves, I sense it's off, but I can't name what. Now I can see the gaps. George, you know more about the market than I do, so your eyes are important here. Then it recommends a masterclass that shows the how.
Would this be 1 hour or so, masterclass?
That could be a 1-hour masterclass. It could be 30 minutes. It could be whatever you want it to be.
If it's high level, then it's an adequate order bump. If it's intended to actually solve an issue, I think it's hard to convey that with just one masterclass.
Yeah, it's always high level generally. Otherwise, you have a 6-hour masterclass. And the upsell is a bundle that has a bunch of templates and Excel files to get you to speed things up. And then continuity looks like a community for $99 a month, and your high ticket is your 3K offer. It actually tells you, this is virtual Jacob, and it says the entry price I recommend 19, not 9 or 49, and it tells you why. For George's market, the community does not go on the cold checkout, and it explains why. It now reviews itself. I'm, again, for the sake of time, going to say next and see what happens. But so far, for you guys that are watching, is it making sense in terms of flow? Is it easy to understand? Awesome. Hey, Daniela, nice to see you here. Sweet. Anyone looking at this going, what the hell is going on? I'm so confused, I hate this. Could type in the chat. If you don't have Thrivecart, you tell the system that you don't have it. And it knows what to do. It will give you a beautiful sales page and explain to you what you can do with it. So Stefan, I was saying earlier that I'm figuring out in small batches because this failed so many times. I don't know if Aaron is in the room. If he is, thank you so much for your help last week. And a bunch of others who helped me. So I'm releasing it in small batches because I want to make sure it works. So I think about 30 of you have access and the rest are coming through the week. There was a stress test with the API, so I had to up the tiers and stuff, but now it's working. What this is doing, because George didn't give it aesthetics for now, is it's using my brand on purpose for the sake of today. But usually it asks you what your brand colors are, what your logos are. It asks you to send a bunch of screenshots. I've done the fast demo version for today. So,
Jacob?
Yes.
Would it also tell you how to build the products which are proposed for Thrivecart?
Yeah, so if you already have the products, it will tell you how to deliver them. If you don't have a product, you can ask Virtual Jacob, I'm thinking of having these, what's the best way to deliver? So it will say, you need Zoom, you need this recording, you need this PDF, whatever, and guide you. Yeah. Chris didn't ask for your brand elements. Okay, but when you amended them, did it listen to you?
Sure, sure. It was no problem, but there was no input required at all. If it had, I would have told it. But it didn't do it here on your demo either.
Yeah, I think because now I have 2 toggles on it, and sometimes it gets confused. For today, I toggled the demo. I think because you had access to it last week, you were one of the first. I didn't have the toggle, and someone mentioned the same thing, so I added the toggle.
So as long as you're clear on it, that's cool.
Yeah, no, thank you. So what this has done is both pages have been built and anti-cleaned the anti-AI. So page 1, sales page, page 2, upsell, and then let's see what's going to happen here. So let's see, it's self-editing itself now. So let's see what this does. One sec. So we've got George. Find the gaps. It's written all of that. It's coded it out. Obviously, brand colors, images are missing. It's got a Q&A. This links to Thrivecart, so you guys notice the checkout is missing. But if I click on any button, it self-scrolls to the checkouts. So in real time, when you do add it, that's the 7-minute video. The only thing you have to do is, if I click this, it scrolls down to here, which is the checkout, which is missing on George's site. But you have a really good starting point. The thing it doesn't have is a video. So like that is stored in memory to know I don't have a video. And then this is your upsell. So wait before you go. This is your audit ready toolkit, 199. You have a game plan. It knows the wording as well to make sure the upsell works correctly. So if we just test, like, you've got a game plan, you know what to do, but what happens with everyone is you know what to fix and you don't actually know how to rebuild your processes.
Jacob, you're still showing the other window as it seems, at least for me.
Oh, really? One sec. Let's see. Is this showing it now? Let's see.
Yep.
Awesome. So wait, before you go, you've got a game plan. It already knows how to upsell itself because we've done so many landing pages in Modern Maker. Now, one thing I'm just going to check here is order bump copy. So it already knows that on Thrivecart, the order bump is not a sales page. Right? It is, if I go back to my Thrivecart, the order bump copy is this bit in this box here, right? So it's not on a landing page. So Claude presented that to you, ready to copy paste. Right? Awesome. So you can download these. You have your sales pages. You have all of that. Now we're going to say next, and you notice at the beginning here, we have my VSL, which sort of breaks down the model and all of that. And this has a specific way of laying things out. So we now have a VSL script writer that will base it on all of that and make sure it converts for you and that it's in the 10 to 15-minute range. I'm going through a revamp. Nice one, Tina. To collect a kid. I reckon we're needing various skills. Yeah, so Yinka, we're just demonstrating the full Modern Maker flow. So you can watch back later. I'm going to give you a document with all the stages. George now has a game plan tool. Sorry, it has a VSL script. It tells you what to do, where to put intro music, what to say, and sort of guides you through all of that. It reviews itself. Let's say we're happy with it. Now we asked for a game plan, right? I'm going to say next, and we're going to summon George, the game plan building bot, to build you your actual game plan. So for Modern Makers, by the end of the week, some of you, I think 30 of you already have access to this and you've been working with it. By the end of the week, all of you will have it within the community. So that's that. If you are not in the community, I'm more than happy to tell you how you can be. So what I will do is I'm going to drop a Google Doc link here. No need to ask questions about the selling. I don't want to sell in this workshop, but you can have a look at the link. So some people are guests, Stefan. I invited people from my email list to see what you guys will have access to.
Jacob, how can we replicate this for our own business? Is that something that you will help us do as well?
Yeah, so people, when I sent out these emails, the next natural question was, great, how do I build an MCP?
Right.
So that's going to be the next workshop.
Oh my gosh, the cliffhangers are cliffhanging. Thank you so much. But yeah, I posted a question in the chat. Whenever you get time, we can wait for it.
Sure. So for George now, you have a system prompt. It's written and scoped out in full to create your game plan tool. So you can grab this, you can copy paste it into ChatGPT, and it will create your game plan tool. Or what I'm going to show you guys probably next session is you can use Claude artifacts now to create your own ChatGPT clone, and you can interact in there versus doing it in ChatGPT. But this is the code for it. It explains how it works and everything. So it asks questions like a survey, and then at the bottom, you see before you publish it, it tells you link to your cohort offer. So the bot will upsell people who use it into your waitlist and so on and so forth. You have your system prompt. Now, when we have a funnel, we've built the pages. What happens when, let me see if I can demonstrate this. You guys have seen me on LinkedIn when I say, click visit my website to get this free training, right? And at the top of my posts, I have that visit my website button. Or let's say if I open today's post, I think I did it today. Yeah, so here's a post, free video, click visit my website at the top. When you click visit my website, it takes you to this link here. When you give me your name and your email, it will redirect you to this page that the bot built, right? Now, you may not buy in this instance, so it's going to trigger a set of 4 pre-purchase emails to get you to buy something. And when you do buy something, it's going to trigger 4 post-purchase emails to get you to join Modern Maker or work with me one-on-one. The same is true for George. So we want to say next, and we want Matty, the pre and post-purchase email writer, to write George's posts, emails, check itself, and do that. So far, so good. Awesome. I think I had a doodle once upon a time of what I just explained, because sometimes it gets a little bit difficult to understand. So lead magnets, like the one I just shared, I call them side doors. They could be videos, they could be GBTs. I love the mini VSL, and all of them should lead to the living room in your house, which is your low ticket offer. And the living room should ascend you to the master bedroom, your core offer. So all we're doing is we're writing emails to get people who came from a side door into the living room, from the living room into the master bedroom. So that's that. Let's see while we're waiting if I can get some questions. Oh, this was fast. So George, you're in, quick orientation. It's written your pre-purchase emails, and it is upselling the Kappa stress test for 19 euros. The next day, it comes up with a problem email. The following day with a story email, why I left corporate. Awesome. And then close day. Post-purchase, somebody who's just bought, makes sure they're happy, and then makes sure sure they've consumed the thing. It introduces the next problem they're going to have and upsells the masterclass. And then it sends them into your community. Yeah. I don't know why that says €1 for the first month. That's what we would have to test. So there's our first hallucination of the day. Okay, now let's pretend we're happy with it. We fixed it. So far, so good. How do we get people into our funnel? So next. And then Aditi, you're asking, how do you maintain a balance between I need to do this versus I need to know what the frick the prompt is doing? So in short, you don't need to know what the prompt is doing. You need to know where you are in the journey. So the one thing I've done in the plan, let's see here, is I've given you a map. We have this in school as well, right? I'm either doing my offer, I'm either installing my funnel, or I'm either writing posts. As long as I know where I am, then the actual coding and the prompting doesn't matter. And I'm also of the mindset of getting things out there first and then.
Yeah, the reason why my question was motivated by something that I replicated from learning from you into my business. And one of my clients, he was like, Aditi, I had to take your prompt and I had to put it in ChatGPT to help me make sense of what's happening. So for example, just a small example of what you teach, a story lesson pivot offer, right? Like that's what's happening at the background of every email. So understanding that particular skeleton before using the prompt. So yes, it again is like that division between I don't want to learn about any of this versus, oh my gosh, the prompt is doing everything, my brain is not working. So I am trying to figure out how to hit that balance, and have not been able to do that. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on maintaining that balance.
I mean, for all of us here, the reason why I had run this prompt is because the majority of us don't care about code. The ones who do will ask me and I'll give you the prompt. What this part does and what we care about is, you know, when Teddy tells you what's strong and what you need to change, this is coaching happening in real time, and it's explaining why this is going to fail or this is going to work. So I've baked in at every iteration what you actually care about, right? Like, this is what you should fix. This is what you should do. Now, when we get deeper now, let's say we've installed the funnel and George's main concern is, how am I going to fill this cohort or this community, right? Which is most of our concerns, right? We want to make sales. The Goblin tells you your content strategy. So here again, you post 3 times a week, George. So it already does that. It's not going to force you to post 7 or 5 or whatever. And it tells you on Monday, don't have a CTA. It gives you the angle, the hook, the visual, the CTA. Direction says none, and it actually explains why. So you get a little bit of that copywriting magic in there, but it doesn't write the post for you. Otherwise, then you rely on the prompt. But before, it coded for you, it did all the boring stuff for you, the admin. Now, when it comes to you being you, you need to prompt it for it to write the post. But I've hidden that on purpose. You can instigate it to write the post if you want, but I think it takes away the love of the game here. So if I'm George, I know I'm going to have a post here with no CTA. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to have a CTA. On Wednesday, no. So it maps out as a content strategist, like what it is you do. And it tells you when to have a CTA and when not to. And then high level, it will give you that. I love working with something like that. And then again, review. This is what's strong. This is what you need to fix. Now, George, you have an email list of how many people?
Around 450 right now.
Awesome. So we do have a list, and we want Carla to write our email sequence that makes an offer to our list. Your cohort is too far away. So for the sake of this example, Carla helps you with your daily emails. Launchy helps you with your waitlist and launch emails. They have very different energy. If I know I have a deadline and I'm squeezing people through, then that way I got to have a deadline. If I'm just writing daily emails, then I handle them very differently. So if you're not in the, how can you set up your own studio and put it in there? You can link your studio to an MCP, Chris. All roads do lead to the bedroom. Any reason of what you're using? Why you're using Opus wouldn't work well with sonnets? There is no reason. I didn't even realize. You can use whichever one you want, Pedro. Good question. Generally, for stuff like this, because it's text heavy, you can give it less load, right? So for, let's see, George, it wrote your 5 daily emails. It told you what to do. It has a plan, proof, problem. It circulates masculine, feminine energy to make sure we have some buyers in the bag. Now, George told us that he's having a launch, so we didn't forget about him, right? Now we're going to spawn Launchy to write your cohort emails. We have a wait list, we have an open cart, right? So 2 things. Usually when we have a wait list, we want to do like 4 or 6 weeks, and we want to not pester our audience. We want to write 1 or 2 emails, unless you're somebody like me who writes a daily email. But George, in your case, you're sort of a light touch user who would want to email your list once or twice. So far so good. Amazing. I have a love and hate relationship with Opus. Anybody notice Claude's sonnet content sounds super low quality? I have actually a little bit. I don't know what Anthropic did with 4.7. They just released some magic and then jumped through a window. So that's that. Can I use Codex by ChatGPT to build all of this? Saeed, if you use Codex and ChatGPT and all of that, as long as you're hooking up to their API, you can do whatever you want. That applies for Gemini and all of this sort of stuff as well. So it doesn't matter. I just use Claude for the sake of today because all my workflow is in there. The guy who's doing the bare minimum, I think it's called enshittification. Chris, yes. So that's a great question. And this applies to all of you who have some sort of delivery and, client-facing business. If anyone is a modern maker, they get access to the MCP. The moment they leave modern maker, I press a magic button and they stop having access to the MCP. When they are onboarded, or as I am onboarding you, you get a magic token, and that token links to your email address and your ID in a database. What this usually does is it creates stickiness, right, for a community. If you know you have a recurring problem, so people want to write posts, they want to write emails. In George's world, I don't know what that is. Do you have a recurring problem?
You do all of them on a recurring basis. So if you would build tools to complete each of the phase, you could make it somewhat sticky. You just have to figure out how to deal with data issues. Right? That's the only thing.
Yeah. So in that case, I mean, another good thing here, let's say, because I have no idea about the work that you do, I have a scheduler here. So every Monday, it just goes in and discovers repetitive patterns I do on a daily basis. And then it spits out, see here, I forgot about it this week. And it tells me what I can turn into Claude skills and what I don't, and based on which fall in which process. So it's pretty cool. And most of these skills that we're demonstrating today came through this little scheduler, which is pretty fun. Like that. So I was thinking of controlling that access via Studio. Yeah, you can definitely do that, Chris. What I've done, I won't share it for the sake of privacy here. I built a little dashboard in my studio that has all of your names on it, and it has revoke access, give access, and delete user. And then I see, yeah, it's really cool. And you also get to see, subject to GDPR, I'm not allowed to see entirely everything, but I can get a flavor of where people are stuck by which tool they're using the most. So, George, we've got your launch campaign. You got 9 emails twice a week, and you've got 13 emails over 7 days to launch. It's reviewing itself. If I just open this here, here's all your emails for your launch campaign. So again, read it as a human being, discern. I can already see some of them here, like as an origin story. This comes across as a little bit short. But being able to do that is really helpful, right? Like, it actually grabs stories from your past, from Fathom Notes. It breaks down hot takes. It builds the authority for you, and so on and so forth. Now, stage 11. This is the final thing. What does George need to do based on where he is? So next, Adam, nice to see you. I was thanking you earlier for being one of the awesome testers. Adam is the reason why Auntie, the AI bot demolisher, works at every stage, because Adam did it. He's like, hey, you should like bake that in. So thank you for being so helpful. So hopefully now we're going to see the last step where Virtual Jacob is going to tell George what he needs to do to be successful. The beautiful part of all of this is, as you use the MCP and you come back to it, you can say, I've done this, this, and this from the plan. What stage am I at now? What do I need to do? And it will always give you feedback. And it's baked into your skills. And for George's sake, I'm going to send you a download folder with all of these so you can run your campaign, your funnel, and do all of that. But really appreciate you giving us access to your knowledge to do this. But let's see if we got this right. You're in tier 1, you're validated and consistent. It's sitting right underneath. You've cleared 3K in a month, 15K in March. You sold a cohort out once. That's not, does it work? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The math to a 20K month. It's telling you how much you need to get to that, what the cohort needs to do, how many seats, how many retainers you need from those, what the low ticket tool buyers are, and what the ascension is, what your floor is. Phase 1, install. Phase 2, stabilize. Phase 3, scale. And then exactly your next steps. So build the tool, publish your page, switch the content calendar, send your list of 5 daily runs, open the wait list, stand up the community last. So once you've got all of that stuff, then do that. Technical setup, it's actually saying you need to build your GPT, do your Thrive cards, add the bump, the upsell, and all of that. Open the decisions that you need to make. And then here's your build summary. So what we did today in the workshop is we did all of this. We skipped nothing. And the files delivered, blah, 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 blah. Okay, can I have all the files to send to George and download them, please? So thank you guys for spending an hour today. Hopefully this was fun to see. Any first impressions? Anyone like what they saw? Thumbs up. Awesome. Anyone excited to get the ball rolling? Awesome. Cool. those of you who are guests, did it sort of open up your mindset into what is possible for your own businesses, or where you can go, or actually people who are within Modern Maker? It's huge. Can't wait to use it. Mega. Okay. I'm grateful for that, because at the core of it, this to me is really exciting, because above and beyond all of this implementation stuff, it actually allows you to be who you are. Like, if George, correct me if I'm wrong, loves serving his clients, the last thing he wants to do is think of, what do I put on this sales page and how do I connect this and that, right? He just wants to be there, serve his clients, be a good dad of 3 soon, and go his merry way and coach and consult. So, David, it works in many languages. I've done Danish recently for our client. I've done Greek for a physio person. We've done Italian for an IVF egg freezing consultant. We haven't done German, but from what I hear, I'm the worst judge in terms of language, but from what the clients have said, it did 6 to 7 out of 10 in terms of that. But I think even in English, maybe I'm too harsh on myself as a copywriter, but it also did a 6 out of 10 for George today. Right? But the point is, it gives you 60 to 70% of the way there. So do it. Now, this is taking a little bit of time, but essentially at every stage, you still have gave you your file here, and you can just download it. I think this is just going to give us a zip file that I'm going to send to George. So I'm going to take questions. Stefan, I think you had your hand up, and then Mo, you want to go next?
Yes, it's just a quick question. Because you said at the end of the week we'll all have access. Is this for everyone in Modern Maker or just the 250 tier?
For everyone who is already in Modern Maker, you have access to this.
Okay, good. Then the follow-up question would be, I was about to get this one-on-one call bundle, but now with this doc just sent, it might make more sense to just upgrade to the 250 instead of the 100, because I also get the 4 calls plus more.
Exactly.
Okay, can I do this somehow? Because I think today or yesterday I paid for the 100. Is it somehow possible to like upgrade it instantly for this month?
Yeah. The document that I shared here that you opened has the 250 payment. If you want to do it, then I'll message you after the workshop, and we can
Perfect.
put a little bonus for you because you paid yesterday.
Okay, perfect. Great, thanks.
Thank you for being so honest on the call. Was that the question you
That
you
was
had?
all my question. I'm good.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you. I appreciate that. Mo?
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were done. So I wanted to ask, is this basically like putting all the skills in one chart?
So kind of, but no.
Okay.
I can share my screen and talk you through it if you wanna know how the actual thing is built. If that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if people don't mind, but yeah, like I was just wondering, how is this a bit different from basically having like all the skills we have in like one room?
Yeah. So, for George's sake, so here's all your files you're gonna get later. It's actually them out. For Mo, basically what you can do with your clients is you can have, you know how we have Claude skills and we have all of this here?
Mm-hmm.
So just a second, I'm going to open for the doggy. I could technically have a Google Drive and give everyone access to these skills. But what happens over time, almost on a daily basis now, I improve them, I make them better, they feed off my Fathom notes with clients. So what was happening was I had to email clients and say, sorry, I updated this. Here's the latest version. Whereas with this, let's say for one-on-one clients, it's okay. But for somewhat of a community where you have more users, it started becoming a bottleneck just thinking about having to email so many people so frequently. Whereas here, anytime I make a change to any one of these skills, the connectors here automatically get updated. So all you have to do is click refresh the tool list, and now you have access. It's like upgrading your iPhone, right?
Right.
So that's one merit of it. The second thing is, if I'm very honest, I've had a lot of people steal my stuff in the past. So this is a nice way to guard your IP and your skill set when they're not a higher ticket. Like I had somebody a month and a half ago come into Modern Maker for a day, take all the tools and file a Stripe dispute and got refunded.
Mm.
I was less bothered about the stealing, but I was like, why do I have to go through all this legal stuff with Stripe now? You could have just messaged me. So it sort of prevents this. And thirdly, this creates a little bit of stickiness with retaining clients who have a retaining problem, who are not able to buy one-on-one time with you just yet, but they have enough for now to do something themselves. So what I'm seeing here from a mentorship standpoint is somebody like George can now take this, install it in, let's say, a week, put it together, but then he will still have a recurring problem. People are not opting into my wait list. The sales aren't going as well. There's so many different problems that still need you as a mentor and a consultant. But what I am able to do with the MCP is, today I had a call with George. Mo, we had a call last week. Virtual Jacob gets updated with every new call I have at a higher level. And I have some restrictions where somebody at a lower ticket can sort of get the ball rolling without having to wait 3 days for me to answer, for example. So those are the pros and cons. Again, I would say this speaks to more of the model and the business that I'm looking at in this season. Other people might look at this like, I've had clients who go, man, I love the AI studio, I'm rocking and rolling, they love the SaaS. Other people are like, thank you, I don't want any of this, I'm happy with my chat GPT links. It's a matter of where you want to take your business, maybe. So that would be a better thing to think about, per se.
Thank you.
If that
Yeah.
helps.
It does.
You're very welcome. And I'm also very happy to discuss this later on if you have questions, to make the best decision for you and the business you have. Aditi, and then we'll have Said.
The first question that I have, two questions. Number one is, the 17 Claude skills is based on your offer pad, leverage pad, and post pad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when people install it, first they have to understand what's your approach, right? Like if I'm coming to, I'm just putting myself in the shoes of me when I came to you in 2024, where I understood, okay, like, by working with you, this is your approach. But somebody who's so maiden to your world, who does not really understand, okay, why the sequence before doing the sequence, how does that educational aspect go?
That's where you actually watch the modules as support. So this is more the doing layer.
Yeah.
For me, the reason why in the onboarding in Modern Maker, I'm like, hey, start here. And I show people the map and I introduce them into the world of like the 3 pads. And actually before someone signs into Modern Maker, I show them the video of the 3 pads. On the sales page, there's the 3 pads. So by the time they get here, they know, oh, it's that circle thing, the heart thing, and the triangle thing. I make a conscious decision in the delivery journey to make sure they know where they are. If for whatever reason they skipped it,
Right.
like we were skipping today, you'll get the files and you won't have a clue what goes where.
Correct. Yeah.
So then that's where the human side, and I don't expect somebody like George to have any idea in 5 minutes from when we finish the call on how to piece that together. But that's where I come in for the true support, right?
Got it, got it. So which brings me to my second question, final one, is it's kind of like open-ended, so take it with a pinch of salt. How are you seeing this one-click install affecting your 3 tiers, like the $99, the $250, and then one-on-one? Like, what's your ideal case situation? Like, okay, I give this to people, they install it, and this is what happens. So draw that picture out for me so that it helps me understand how my business could evolve as well.
It's very simple to put it nicely here and be very transparent. This is a beta test. Somebody like Stefan earlier, sorry to put you on there, just validated what the purpose is here. He said, I want more support. So automatically goes into the other tier, right? So for me, the beta test, I want to be fair to the people who supported me at the beginning, just like any startup would. So I'm giving access to existing members. But moving forward, at least I believe that this tool is worth $2,500 a year based on how much time it saves you and whatever. So when I made this offer, even to the people who are here as guests, it was $1 to demonstrate the future. I think it will be better suited to people who are more committed because I also committed to making everybody else's life easier. It's only fair to give access to a tool like this at that level. Other people might say, you know what? Let's say I am an influencer who has 100,000 followers and I don't want to work and I want this to be hands-off. I can just give all of this for $99 a month and go for volume. I see this more as a work of art and I want to be as involved with the people who are at that higher tier. But all that to say, if you are at a lower tier, I also respect it. So the offer I'm going to make is you get the fundamentals. You just won't get all 17 tools. Otherwise, I'm going to put myself out of business. Right? So again, here, I don't have the right answer. It's just my intuition sort of speaking. And I'm also figuring out what the best tier is. The one thing I know for sure is you are the funnel and people want access to you. And with something like this, you become the most scarce resource. So for most of us who are coaches or consultants, or maybe you've seen what it's like having a call with me or whatever, you know there's value in having a human being there.
Correct.
And I believe regardless of how fast, even if we were able to do this in 5 minutes, having access to Aditi the coach, David the coach, Stefan the coach, Jacob the coach, Chris, whatever, Mo, and having that should be the highest price point, like proximity to a human.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you so much. No, this is very helpful. So we are going to wait for these MCP details to come our way so that we can install it in our own business.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'll take Saeed, and then I have to attend to the baby.
Yeah, I had a question around the business model. So as a ghostwriter, so, when you explained all the behind the scenes of MCP, it looks like, a self-installed ghostwriter where my clients, if they know about it, they will install it and, there is no need of ghostwriter.
I like where this is going. I could get very philosophical. If you think your clients don't need a ghostwriter, they're not going to do very well with their business, if I may put it that way. Because ghostwriting, sure, you can use AI, but if you are a ghostwriter who's used AI, you know the output of that AI. We've just demonstrated a 6 out of 10 output with AI, right? So if this is the case, the client who thinks they can get clients with just AI can be my guest and yours. Because I still think there needs to be human output. What I would be doing as a ghostwriter is just like a lead singer who's singing on a stage. We want our ghostwriting client to be the lead singer. We've got to supply the lights, the cables, the instruments, the crowd for them to come and sing. where maybe the on and off switches and the ideation and the scheduling can be handled by AI. But if we take away their voice and what they're truly there to do, that's going to put them out of business, at least for where we are right now. I've tried running experiments with pests to just do AI only. It just doesn't have the same level of soul and human touch that an actual copywriter would put in. And now, people who run ghostwriting coaching programs and stuff like that may argue and maybe prove me wrong, but I still think having that human level of discernment is what makes or breaks the deal. I see it in my own line of work. Like, if I write my emails with AI, none of you would be here. And whenever I had, due to some certain things, I didn't have the same level of output, let's say. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of perspective.
Yeah, but how much percent should AI be involved in working? I mean, whenever you're writing something for some other person, obviously without AI, I don't get ideas, okay? So if I tell them, okay, yeah, I'm doing it all from AI, they would go and do it by themselves. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do it all with AI. You would help with the editing, the ideation, maybe the scheduling, maybe the formatting. But the core of it, the idea, the essence, the understanding of it has to come from you. Otherwise, it won't, from my experience, won't perform. They'll get annoyed that you're not doing a good job and they would churn out, right? It's the same thing here that I demonstrated with George. If he just uses what we did now for his campaign, it's not going to do very well, right? It will give him the basis, but he still has to go and do the ins and outs. You as a ghostwriter, we need the strategist as well at the top of that. And to see that, you can write a post and get away with it, but you won't be able to guarantee them recurring revenue if the thinking isn't there. Because it's, you know, it's always a game of hit and miss. So that's that. Thank you guys for coming and showing up, and hopefully this was useful. If you have any questions, drop them on school. Otherwise, this was awesome. And thank you to George for volunteering to make this today possible. See you guys soon. Bye-bye. You're welcome. You're welcome.